Well, hello, and welcome everyone to the second episode of the new Coffee Talk. My name is Arthur DiStefano, and I am here with my father, Frank DiStefano. Hello, Dad. Say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone.
So we are live right now, and on today's episode, we entitled it Inspired by God. We just got done our men's fellowship, and Dad, would you like to tell them a little about that, what we learned today?
What I learned today was inspiration. Sometimes people have doubts what to do with their relationships, with loved ones, and I was in that situation. So I believe I was in a tunnel and I saw the light, but every time I was running towards the light, it was going further and further away. So I had to learn to adjust and believe what I thought was going to be right. And the tunnel started getting brighter and brighter and brighter, and my doubts was no longer, and I got closer to God. And I started learning the Bible, and I had a wonderful family in church. They were always with me and guiding me through the hard time. And there was a verse that I learned that it was in, it says, "A wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding will attain wise counsel." And I believe in that, and it's very strong, and I just learned to appreciate myself, not what other people wanted. And I walked the path of God, and that's the way it went. I might lose people, I might gain people, but I'm there for God, and that's my purpose. And for those who are non-Christians, I pray for you, though things were going. But you have to find faith, and what you believe is what you believe. I'm just here to tell you what I believe, and they're my opinions. So I hope you get the best you can and pray a lot. And now I'm going to give you to my son Arthur.
Thank you. I had to go shut our dogs up. They were being stupid inside, and they got on my nerves. So if you hear barking, it's our dogs. But yeah, we just had our men's fellowship, and it was very rewarding. I just noticed I did the word rewarding wrong. I said rewarding. But so today's episode we entitled "Inspired by God," and Dad, you read out of what verse
Proverbs.
did you read? Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 5. Thank you. So today, let's focus on what does it mean to be inspired by God.
My inspiration is, waking up, that God gave me another day, and to be thankful for the church family. He gave me that blessing, to be with the church family that understands, cares, and helps you as much as they could. Another inspiration of God is that I'm getting closer to God. And I was so distant, I was not seeing God. I knew of God, but I
didn't know Him.
I didn't walk with God. And I think that taught me a lot. You can't walk alone.
You said something earlier today about, because we've been through so many different denominations and different religions, and the further we get away from God, the more problems we have.
Well,
you talked about being in a tunnel.
Yeah, I just told
them. Oh, you did? Okay, sorry. I missed that, y'all.
The only thing I didn't tell them was I was like a tree, and I was branches. Trees grow and branches, but the branches wither. So I was withering with my beliefs and everything else. So I had to get pruned.
Right, you have to get rid of that stuff.
So you grow and you become a beautiful vine or whatever.
Beautiful
grows
flower.
on that flower.
Because if you don't prune,
No.
the plant will not grow properly.
And if you don't get fertilized, it's not going to go nowhere.
Exactly.
So your fertilize is the wisdom that other people tell you, and that's in the Bible.
Right.
Not what they tell you, but it's what's in the Bible that's correct. That is filling you so much of knowledge. And, I mean, we don't want to hear the truth, but that's what's written, and that's about to obey it.
Well, that's it. And, without truth, we're just living a lie. Without correction, we can't grow. Question for you. What is it about God's Word that inspires you to want to continue your path with Him? Because Satan's after you all the time.
Oh, yeah, I know that. Every minute.
And is it even worse, though, now that you're a Christian?
He does really devious things like to banish you from God. I mean, like he did me from feeding. I couldn't eat. He tried that stunt, and God jumped in the way and said, "No, that's one of my children," and He blessed me with that. And then he's now the sleep disorder. Well, he did that too, the devil, and God says, "He's my child. He will be healed." And I never doubted anything. I don't doubt God of anything. It was me.
Right.
I did the problem, and I could calm the problem, protect it. And, I mean, everybody has their belief. And if they don't want to hear the wisdom of God,
that's on them.
Just, it's going to be damned. But
what you're saying is, you're talking about accountability. We are accountable for our own self. I can't change you.
No.
You can't change me. The only person we can work on is oneself, ourself. And for the longest time, everyone, I told Dad, you got to go to church, you got to be baptized, you got to come to know the Lord. But see, that's what I wanted. I kept pushing and pushing. And, it's good to tell him. It is good to that. But if you did that, you weren't really becoming a Christian for the Lord. It'd be just like, so you could be, in a way, shut me up about it.
Well,
and it's like, you had to work out your salvation with the Lord. And when that time was right, my prayer was answered. Because that's been my prayer since day one, that we would come to know the Lord. And to know that, yes, God does answer prayers. And remember, it's in God's timing, not in our timing.
Well, that's true.
Sometimes we won't even see the
miraculous things He does.
Right. We won't see that. And also, it might be, say you prayed for this person to become a Christian, and say you died, but later on in life they did. God heard your prayer. You might not have seen the outcome, but God knows what the outcome is. It's the same thing remember in the Old Testament with Abraham, where God promised him a nation, and Abraham did not even see the nation that he has.
But see, before I never prayed for the sinners, but now God's taught me, pray for the sinners.
Pray for people,
because they're lost, and prayers is free. It's free to pray.
Yeah, it's true.
But people have to know. I mean, I ran into people that were non-religion, and I prayed for them because they're going to be somewhere. I don't know. Might not be heaven, but it might be somewhere else. So, because they don't believe, they never gave God a chance, and it's sad.
Well, I think, as well as for us praying for people, which is really good, God gives us opportunities to testify to them about what God is doing. And you can use your very own life as your testimony, because that's what you're supposed to do. Not everyone's situation is going to be the same as yours, but you have met people in your life that has somewhat gone down a path that you have gone down, and you can use the change God has done in you to help them along.
Yeah, I have a couple of friends that are going through really bad battles in their mind.
Yeah.
And relations and whatever. Like if people encourages you to go with them and believe what they believe, they're not the people I want to be around anymore, because my focus is what can I do for God and make it better for me to be closer to God. Not for human people, but I want to do it spiritual.
Yeah.
Because human people will always bring you down or whatever. It's only,
I think Brother Nathan said it best, and he's one of the men that attends our church. He said that bad company corrupts good habits. That's what you're talking about.
True, right.
But then you could also say good habits enforces good habits. So if you're a positive person for someone, and that's what they're getting, that's what will come
it's
out.
like an apple. If you put...
Welcome to Charlestown. Hold on, we're going to pause here while you listen to music. Every time, folks, that we try to do a recording, something goes on. Welcome to Charlestown.
Yeah, it's like you're not... I don't know what I was saying now.
We were talking about being a positive influence on someone and clinging to God.
No, it was something different. It was
that ambulance knocked you off a bit.
Yeah, 'cause that's what I was in. I think, like I said, one of my friends had an issue, and instead of throwing stones,
yeah,
I tried to make him feel better, and that was not because I had to glorify myself.
Right.
It's that's what God would have done, and help the person and let them feel better. And I think the world, so much hate and so much war, is not solving anything. I think if we show more love and just stay out of people's business a lot and just say, okay, I'm going to suggest this to you, and show them that you care, not like a bully or hurting them, I think it will go a long way, because people that didn't like you will start learning what you were saying, and it absorbs in their mind.
So, like, you're not attacking them. What you're doing is, I'm trying to help you in this situation. We always need someone in our life that is there to build us up and not tear us down. Because, honestly, it's easy to tear anybody down.
I mean, I don't like the truth, but I accept it because I'm more grateful that they were truthful, and I appreciate that more.
Well, the truth is always hard to hear, but it's what you need.
It's what I need, right? It's what I do need, and
I mean, what we want is for somebody to, like, say, I want you to just tell me all the good things about me. I don't want you to tell me anything that I have to work on. Then how do I grow if I'm not working on some issues? Like, for me, a big issue of mine, I overtalk people, and that is a problem.
But I learned that too. I mean, I learned I was walking through lilies in life, like, nothing's gonna happen to me. Everything's great. Great. But guess what? There were thorns in there, and that's what hurt me. And I had to learn the more beautiful things are, the more deceiving it could be.
That's true.
It's like a rose. It's a beautiful rose,
but it has thorns.
But it has thorns, and that's what I have to learn on people. These are not the right people I should be around. That has thorns in the rose. They're the ones that's going to hurt me, and I'm not going to learn anything. I'm just going to learn more anger and hate and despise people. And before I used to say, "Oh, they got this. Oh, look, and I'm jealous of that." That's not what God wanted. I have more gold in me than I could ever have now, knowing I'm going to get to heaven, than anything earthly.
Right.
That's not ever going to help me.
Oh, and everything here that we gain materialistically will burn up. It's not going to matter.
I mean, look at the food God provides. So if we can't get regular food in stores, start making it a farm.
Yeah.
And start
grow your own vegetables. And I agree. How has God's word helped you? Because you've been studying the Bible, you've been learning the names. Dad's newly a Christian, but he has advanced so well. And again, this is not to puff you up or build you up ego-wise, but this is an encouragement that you are learning more because you want it. That's what I notice, and I know that's what the men of the church is noticing, and the ladies of the church are noticing. You want it, and those that want it more will get it.
When I pray,
you have a desire.
When I pray for people at the church, I'm saying that from my heart. I'm not saying it just to say it. Right. I'm doing it because I care about that person and I love that person.
Yeah.
And I would better for them. I want better for them.
Right.
Health wise, whatever. You know, and it took me a really long time. It took me over 20 years to really get my act together.
Yeah.
And I was going into damnation. And at the church, I said, okay, yeah, I'm ready for this now to go to church. I said, God told me, now's your time.
Yeah.
And I definitely said, yes, God, it is my time. Because I was failing. My body was actually going down.
Yeah.
And so I went to church. They opened their arms to me. They showed so much appreciation. They didn't judge me. They didn't throw stones at me.
No.
I was like the prodigal son. I came home.
And you know, when you talk about throwing stones, the reality is none of us can throw stones at anyone.
The only one that could do that was Jesus.
Right, because he's sinless.
Right.
And we have no right to throw a stone at someone because we have to look at our own life. Now, this, of course, doesn't mean that we just let people run rampant with sin, because the loving thing to do is to say, hey, this is something that you shouldn't be doing because it's against God. And I'm telling you this out of love. Because if I don't tell you, then I don't love you.
Well, you know, it's not even the throwing the stones. It's what you say. That
and
will
how
stay
you say it.
With you all your life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a fork in your tongue. Mm-hmm. And the razor's going to cut that person, and they're going to remember.
Oh, yeah.
The words that you say. They're not going to remember the sticks and the stones. They're going to remember what you said. That could really hurt a person for their long term. And that's where suicide comes in, because you said something that really
hurt them deeply.
And you just have to be a teacher and just love the person. Mm-hmm. Don't go against the person. Yeah. And I think that's what we're all learning to do now. And we showed our love and affection today.
Yeah, we had a great fellowship. So, it was great.
I mean, we tried to help each other. Mm-hmm. And some people needed to know that. And they hugged me and they said, I really need to hear that today. And I said, well, if I could be an inspiration, I love that. But God told me.
Right. That God is using you as the vessel.
Going through.
And, you know, that's what's good when you attend a congregation, assembly of people that are there for you, that love you, that is not there to say, oh, look what you did, and let me go spread gossip. That is completely wrong, and that is definitely not how the church is designed. Yeah. The church is a family. It's the kingdom of God. So you should feel welcomed when you come. And, I mean, we've been through many denominations in which, by the way, denomination is division. And Christ cannot be divided. If the body is divided, the house will not stand. So, which makes no sense. Denomination is division. And the only church that was founded by Jesus Christ is that of the Church of Christ. That is written in the gospel. That is the Lord's word. Not Arthur's word, not Frank's word, but the Lord's. Now, Dad, one other thing that I want to ask you is, earlier you were talking about, as a tree, we have to be pruned. to grow. We have to have, the right soil and everything. What does it mean to you that when God prunes you, what is that helping you in your walk?
Okay, well, for my understanding.
Right.
And you could be in a crowd, but the crowd you're in is not helping you develop into Christianhood. You're there to be popular. And I learned I could be in a crowd with thousands of people. I'm still alone. And you know why I'm alone? Because I looked at myself. You know why I'm alone? Because I wasn't believing and getting closer to Christ. And I think once I learned that, I lost people. I don't care if it's girlfriends, friends,
right, whatever, family.
My determination, my oath was to be with God now.
Yeah.
And if there's stumbles in the way and there's thorns, all right, he'll cut them out and you'll walk gracefully to the heaven.
Well, and the reality is, if we choose anyone that's instead of God, because yes, people are meant to be in your life for a reason.
Well, that's true.
But if we love someone more than we love Jesus, then he will have nothing to do with us.
When we throw a curveball to God, it's not good, because if you're going to make a woman challenge God, and you're going to go for the woman because you don't want to be alone, or because your age, or you want kids, that's not what God planned. He's going to plan for you your life.
Right.
Like it's already written. So, I mean, if you're wanting it so bad, God's going to take away something.
Right.
You give it, you take it. And I believe that people that try to sugar it is not going to go too good.
Right.
I think if you're studying to be with God, you got to study to be with God.
Right.
And I think that's the most important thing, and people should know. Would you rather be in torment, or would you rather be in paradise? And I think that's what people forget. They think it's a joke, and laughing and giggling and like it's a joke. It's not a joke. This is your life to get there, and it's a test. And if you go against it, you might fail sometimes, but he's a forgiving God, and you just say you won't do that again, and you move on. And I think that's what I've learned about Christianity.
So that's kind of happened in your life.
Well, my life was really dark, and
right.
But I never gave up on God, but I didn't know God, and I think there's a difference there. To know God, you want to be walking with God. And I think if you just say, "Oh God, help me," it's a word. I'm not learning anything. I'm just saying, I need you now. And I don't think people should feel that way. They shouldn't say, I feel good now, and then God comes off the shelf. Oh yeah, I need you now, or I have cancer, or I'm having sleeping. No, you have to be with God, spiritually and everything else. Because the devil's like, oh, so now we got your problem. If that's what's bothering you, really, the sleep, so I'm going to feed more into it.
And the reality is, Satan wants you to not make it to heaven, period. Oh. And you could do everything up to 99%, get that all, but that 1%, that is going to keep you out of the kingdom.
And that's what I'm trying to teach one of our friends now. Don't make other people challenge you for your faith. And it hurts if you have to leave things, but you're getting rewarded. And I think Jesus walked that desert for 40 days or 40 nights, and they were tempted.
Let's not forget, he was without food or water.
So he was tempted. He could have the whole world and everything else, but he never stopped. And I think people nowadays, they stop and they go for the temptation. Like, I love candy. I mean, I love chocolate, but
White chocolate.
And I made it a temptation, and that's not what God wanted. God wanted, if I'm going to do that, why ain't I praying at night? That make that my temptation.
Right.
More of the Bible. That's a great temptation. You
All
fill
right.
up the cup.
Let's change the subject now. That was good. Since you're talking about temptation and instead of doing this, you should be in the Word. Let's get back to it, about inspired by God. We're talking about the Word, the Bible. How has the Bible helped you get closer to God? How has it inspired you to get closer to God?
It's Jesus.
Hold on, folks. This is what happens when you live in a city. Anyways, back to my question. How has the Bible inspired you to get closer to God?
Well, I found out if I'm angry, you read the Bible, you go to the verse that you're challenged with that. Like I love Psalms. Psalms are my favorite. But like I said today, I just looked at Proverbs.
Yeah.
And I got the word I liked. It said, a wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding will obtain wise counsel. And I think if you listens to Bible, it will talk to you and say, well, that's like my life. And you're trusting, you never question what's written. You could ask, but you don't question, say, well, I think it should go this way.
Right, because then that's adding and subtracting.
I think if you try to understand what was written, and if you don't understand,
you ask a question,
people
right?
That are Christian, that knows the Bible too, and help you with it.
I think also having a good translation helps, a good version, and the New King James Version is the most reliable Bible. And the same thing with the King James Version. They are the most reliable to the original manuscript.
That you get teachers, and you have to understand where they're going. If they're going the wrong road, that's not really a teacher for you, and that's not a church you should be in.
No.
If you do false prophecy and you're okay with it,
that's
you're
on you.
Go to hell.
Yeah, and well, see, and that's another thing. The ones that are preaching and teaching false doctrine, they will be held accountable to God. But also those people that listen to that and continue knowing something's wrong here, but you keep going with it, you will be held accountable, because we are accountable for ourselves.
Absolutely.
I cannot say that, they taught me this, so I have to go with what they say. No, I need to go with what the Bible says, and if somebody's teaching something that's wrong, then it needs to be brought up.
Yeah, you can't pick what you like in the Bible and not like what you don't like in the Bible.
Right, you can't pick and choose.
I mean,
the Bible is not a buffet.
Because a lot of churches teach you to be proud, and there's not a God, there's a ghost, and there's spiritual, and really like dumb stuff they're teaching, and people fall for it. It's not a concert. It's not all the music you play and only 5 minutes with the gospel. It's wrong. You should have more gospel and less music, and let people thrive for what they hear in the Bible. Everything is in that Bible that you need to know. Mad, sadness.
Every emotion you have, the Bible has an answer for. Everything you're dealing with, the Bible has an answer for. The Bible does not contradict itself, because if it contradicts itself, then it is not God's word.
I mean, that's what God wrote to help us, to make us know. I mean, we're just ignorant enough to say, I don't like the Bible, and I'm just going to do it my way, and it's going to go the proper way. But you will pay at the end.
Oh, yeah. And if I can be real honest here, there are some things in the Bible that challenge me, because they're like, I don't know if I agree with that. Now, remember, I'm talking from my human side. but this is what God has said. This is what God has ordained. This is, this is what He has commanded. Then it needs to be obeyed.
Well, it's like the Ten Commandments. How many people don't even listen to that Ten Commandment? And that is...
Oh, and here's the thing, though. Even with the Ten Commandments, they weren't the only commandments from God.
No, there were 20, I think.
No, there was way more than that. If you read Leviticus, all the laws, Moses' laws, no one could keep the law. No one. Because you'd be stoned to death over something, the simplest thing. Even if a kid cuss out their parent, you'd be stoned to death. It could be anything.
Well, it's like a witch hunt. Like, you didn't really have to do anything for them. If they didn't like you, they just killed you.
Yeah.
And it's because you're believed, like, from this day, we're in the crisis of the devil. And he's teaching people, like, to kill the Christians because it makes the devil own the world. But they're never going to own your spirit.
You're so right, because even if somebody takes your life, they can't take your soul.
No.
That belongs to God. God, and the decisions we make in this life determine where we will end up.
When you get baptized, you're signing a contract
with God. You're making a vow with God.
Absolutely. Get rid of all the sins. Get rid of all your past.
My life is with you, Lord.
It's now, what can I do for you?
Exactly.
He's done so much for me. What can I do for you?
Mm-hmm.
And I know He don't like glory, and He don't like praises, and He don't want to be glorified like an idol. But He appreciates showing and you're doing what He wants.
Well, if we're talking about just making God as an idol, God is not for that.
No.
Even though all glory and praise does go to Him, but not as an idol like what the Israelites did. Right. And they made a golden calf. Right. And it's the same thing too. If you have a cross and you're looking to an image of the cross as that is your God, no. God doesn't need an image to worship Him.
He was not on a cross. I mean, after like they're doing in churches now.
Oh yeah. Well, the Catholic Church still does that. Keep Him on the cross. Jesus is off that cross. Exactly. He has paid for the sins of humanity. Why keep nailing Him up there when He's not there no more?
And you're crucifying Him over
and over again.
It's not wise.
No.
To even go for a false prophet like that.
No. I want to thank you, Dad, for your time today with episode 2 of Inspired by God. And I got to say, I am truly inspired by what we learned today in our men's fellowship. I enjoy it. I'm inspired by the fellowship and also by God's word. I'm inspired by the world God has given us. We have beautiful nature and everything. And of course, it does not mean make nature as an idol. No. This is just something to enjoy because this is all temporary. But we do need some pruning in our life. Things need to get cut out because it's taking up time away from God. And I'm speaking to myself here on that, but I'm sure...
You're talking to me.
I feel like that could be for all of us, honestly.
I mean, if I helped one person today, if I was an inspiration, I'm so happy because that person was in need and sad and everything else. And if I could have done that, that wasn't me. That was God guiding me.
Yes.
The inspiration.
So really the inspiration is God.
Yes.
Because, and we are just a vessel.
And I don't ever want to be idle. Because that's not me. That's God going through me.
Mm-hmm.
To tell me what to say that will not hurt the person and make him closer to us.
Right, or anyone, yes.
And I think that's a blessing.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in and listening to Coffee Talk with Frank and Arthur. Even though it should be alphabetical, but it's all right. He said, "Oh shush." All right, thank you again, Dad. Was there anything else you want to close out with? If not, we'll go into closing prayer.
I would just like to say, I'm praying for everyone that's hearing this podcast, and you're not forgotten, and you're not a loser, and all the sins, we hear you, and we will pray for you. For the ones that don't believe, and the ones that do believe, we'll always pray for you to get knowledge. And that's all we can say.
Thank you, Dad. All right. I will close this out in prayer, my brother / dad. Dear gracious Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for this episode. Thank you for just being inspiring to us, Lord. We pray that this podcast has helped someone, that has challenged some to want to be better, to know to wait upon you, Lord, because you have all the answers. Help us, Lord, to just be in that moment with you and knowing that your will be done and you know what is best. Please forgive us all, Lord, of our sins. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. It doesn't matter what time it is, folks. People are always coming by.
I want to be his soldier.
Yes.
Not his enemy.
Amen. It's better to land on the rock, which is Jesus, than for the rock to crush us.
I don't want to go against. I don't want to fight the devil's war. I want to fight God's war.
Fight with God.
Yeah.
In the war. Yes. Okay. I was like, wait.
No.
Okay. Anything else, Dad?
No, that's it.
All right. Adios, amigos and amigas.
Adios. Au revoir.
Say goodnight.
Yeah,
Gun tight.
That's Lawrence.
Lawrence will.
Lawrence